This is a high-resolution infrared clip that runs 4 minutes and 51 seconds. The image is mostly dark, with intermittent areas of contrast that appear, move across the frame, and are held in view by the sensor as the camera pans. Several times the scene briefly goes black and resumes, tracking one or more of those contrast areas. For long stretches, there is no visible object in the frame, and activity comes in short bursts rather than a continuous sighting. The material entered public view after a group of members of the United States House of Representatives sought access to a set of potentially UAP-related records. ARRO identified this file among materials that were stored on a classified network and noted that many of the recovered items lack a substantiated chain of custody. The uploader gave this clip a title suggesting a call sign and a September 2019 sighting, and ARRO assesses the video is likely derived from an infrared sensor aboard a United States military platform operating in the CENTCOM area of responsibility in 2019. A user uploaded the file to a classified network in November 2019, and the Department of War provided it under the Pursue Release program on May 22, 2026. Early in the clip, the frame remains empty, and then a single area of contrast enters from the left and moves toward the lower left. Later, the sensor pans to center a similar area of contrast as it moves across the field of view. At one point, the camera changes visual settings and continues to hold the object. On other occasions, the image flashes to black and then returns, with multiple contrast areas briefly appearing and exiting while the sensor tracks them. The clip shows tracking behavior and intermittent sensor interruption, but it does not include additional instrumentation, overlays, or external commentary within the footage itself. ARRO cautions that this description is informational and does not represent an analytical judgment or a factual determination about the event. The office also flagged questions about provenance and custody for several items in the same collection, which limits how confidently the footage can be placed into an evidentiary sequence or linked to other records. Those provenance issues are an important part of why the material drew congressional attention. What makes this clip notable in the archive is its resolution and the apparent use of an infrared sensor combined with its presence on a classified network and its inclusion in the set of records reviewed during the congressional request. The footage does not include an official explanatory annotation tying the observed areas of contrast to a known platform or natural phenomenon, and the record, as provided, leaves interpretation open. Analysts and members of the public will therefore rely on the visual behavior in the clip, the contextual notes from ARRO, and separate reporting to form hypotheses about what was recorded. This recording is one piece of a larger collection that the Department of War handed over through the Pursue program, and it illustrates both the kinds of sensor imagery that appear in those files and the documentation gaps that sometimes accompany archived military footage. Viewers interested in evidence, contemporaneous reports, and the procedural notes that accompany these materials should consider the chain of custody and the release history when weighing the significance of any single clip. Find the case file, related footage, sighting reports, and our weekly UAP News podcast at UAPDrop.com.